Hello, welcome to another episode of Q&A with Dr. K. Have you ever had a disagreement with somebody? And it doesn't matter if the disagreement was over something small, like who's better, the Detroit Lions or the Green Bay Packers, or if it was something large in maybe the political realm and very important to you. But have you ever walked away from that disagreement and thought to yourself, how can they be so wrong, right? How can they think the way that they think when I am so convinced and know to the deepest of my bones that what I'm saying in my perspective and my point of view is actually the correct one? And what I want you to consider is that ask yourself, is the other person trying to be wrong? Honestly, because what I think you'll find most of the times is, of course not. I tend to believe that most people aren't walking around trying to be incorrect. They're not provocateurs, or they're not trying to just trigger you and be incorrect and wrong in their perspectives and their point of views. So is it reasonable to assume that if you were born in their shoes and you went through life and had the very same experiences and order of events that have gotten them to this point, is it reasonable to assume that you would have a similar perspective, or that you may tend to take on their belief or their point of view? And it's a good exercise when you have disagreements. And I know this is all not needed right now because there's no disagreements on a larger scale in this world or in this country. But it's important to understand that I don't think people are trying to be wrong. So share your point of view, and rather than go into a conversation and seek to be understood, seek to understand, right? Try to get information. I like what Jordan Peterson says, where he says, listen to somebody as if they had a piece of information that was extremely valuable to you, and listen to them so intently that they'll tell you it, right? And I think when we go about conversations in general from that perspective, seeking to understand their perspective and why they're coming from the point of view that they're coming from, then we're better able to have a conversation and maybe change minds. Maybe your mind will be changed if you're open, and maybe their mind will be changed if you're convincing and you can articulate your point. But and if you find yourself giving very valid reasons and points that rebut and maybe contradict their point of view, and some people are just blind to it, then I think if you're not familiar with the word cognitive dissonance, maybe you can look into that term, because cognitive dissonance is something that happens when our beliefs of what we believe to be true and how the world works inevitably at times become ingrained and blend with our identity, right? And when somebody comes presenting credible evidence that is very logical and concrete, and that evidence contradicts our beliefs and therefore our identity, if we believe it, then we have a sense of our ego crumbling, because what we held to be true and what we identified as is no longer true. It becomes suspect. And that can be very difficult for people to accept. So if you have a conversation with somebody and you believe that they are suffering from cognitive dissonance, take a deep breath, maybe walk away from the conversation and realize that that is what is happening, and maybe you can come at it from another point. But stay calm. Nobody's trying to be wrong out there, people. So maybe let's all just take a deep breath, because you too can suffer from cognitive dissonance, right? I'm not immune to this. I've had conversations where I walk away from it, and then later on maybe it comes out that I was incorrect. And so I've never really enjoyed when people say I'm just speaking my truth. I think this might be a little bit of semantics, but I tend to believe that there is the truth, and then there is your perspective on it, and people call that my truth, right? And perspective is really important, because you may look at this and say, but there's only one finger being held up, right? But then of course not, there's two. But perspective and what information you are coming from is important to the conversation. So where did that all stem from? I was actually getting off the freeway here in San Diego, heading into the office today, and I saw a couple drifters off the side of the freeway with a sign, and the woman, she was probably my age, maybe a little bit older. She was wearing tie-dye, and she had a sign that said, "Dragon destroyed our village." And so I rolled down the window, because the guy that was there with her was playing the guitar, and the sign that was next to him said, "Need funds for repairs." And so I rolled down the window because I wanted to hear the beat of the guitar he was playing, and I kind of was curious what in the world was going on. And she was walking up and down saying, dragon destroyed our village. And in a better accent than that, I'm terrible at accents, but it kind of sparked me on this thought thinking, I may look at that and think that is crazy town. That's, we're in San Diego. I haven't seen a dragon ever, but certainly not in San Diego. I don't think they're roaming around here. And so what are the odds that a dragon destroyed their village? I think that's pretty wild. But then it kind of led me around this thought of, I don't think they're trying to be wrong, right? I would call it maybe wrong, but who knows? Maybe if we heard them out, if we learned where they were coming from, if I was born in their shoes and I grew up the way they grew up, and all of a sudden I found myself in this village and the dragon was destroyed, you know, or the dragon destroyed the village, and now I'm wearing tie-dye on the side of the freeway playing the guitar asking for funds to repair this village, that would, you know, maybe I could seek to understand where they were coming from in this, or maybe it would at least let me feel more comfortable having the conversation with people if I just know where they're coming from. So holy smokes, that's a little bit of a roundabout way, but just let's take a deep breath, people. Have conversations with people. Very few people out there are trying to be incorrect. They're trying to be wrong. That's crazy. They're just doing the best. We're all doing the best we can. So let's have conversations. Let's keep an open mind. Let's take a deep breath, right? And let's move on to the question. Here we are, Saturday, January 9th, 2021. How would you describe the past year of your life in one sentence? How would you describe the past year of your life in one sentence? Remarkable. I would say 2020 has been, for me, remarkable. And what I mean by that is it is worthy of making a remark about it, right? I think it's disheartening for me to see online and in conversations with people this whole idea of, oh, yay, 2020's gone, right? All of that disaster is done. 2021, yay. And it's difficult to hear because I think that's such a negative attitude to take. I know that I haven't had to endure a lot of the things that a lot of people out there have endured. I'm very fortunate in many ways. However, I think 2020 was a lot of benefit for myself. It allowed me to hunker down and really clarify my why, clarify what I'm up to. It led me to sharing with you right now on January 9th, and it led to a lot of big changes in my life, professionally and personally. And so I don't like the perspective of such a negativity and thinking that just because it's another year, that the calendar turns a page, that somehow things are going to change. I think that if a lot of people that are stuck in that mindset will realize that as the days go by on the calendar, not a lot of things do change, but what can change is your perspective, your mindset on it, your positivity towards it, and having conversations with people, seeking to understand rather than to be understood. And I would say the last year of my life has been pretty remarkable. Has it had downs? Yeah, I've had a lot of things changed in my life, maybe not that I would have chosen, but have there been a lot of growths and a lot of shifts that have led me to get better? Yeah, I think there's been a lot of positive to pull from. I really hope that you guys can pull from some positive as well. I'd like to hear in the comments section of the video, wherever you're finding this video, how would you describe the past year of your life in one sentence? I'm curious to see what you think. Hopefully you guys can start spinning things into a positive sense, and maybe I'll get some positive answers, but I'm sure that it's been devastating for a lot of people, and there may be some negative answers, and I completely hear you and respect that as well. I'm always trying to find the positive. You got to find the silver lining and move forward one step at a time, and keep an open mind and have conversations with people. So Q&A with Dr. K. Sorry for the long one today. Felt a little riled up on a topic and I wanted to share with you. So have a good day. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow's the Sunday special. So I've gotten a few questions written in across the platforms, and I've also had a few questions in my office from patients. So I'll be kind of funneling through and making a decision on those. looking forward to catch you tomorrow for the Sunday special, where there won't be a calendar question. There will be a question from one of you all. So I've really enjoyed this week. See you tomorrow for the Sunday special, Q&A with Dr. K. Have a good one.